My name is Pete Talton. Do you want like the full name?
Sure.
Peter Allen Talton. The lowest point in my life happened when my dad passed away. The morning of, I was over at my mom's house and I was just visiting because it was my birthday. He gave me a birthday card, and it was the very first birthday card my dad had ever written to me. The card said, "I'm so proud of the man that you've become." And I saw it. It was on his handwriting, and I could tell where he tried to write "Love, Dad," and the pen stopped working, and he got mad, and you could tell because it was like ground in there, you know. But that meant a lot to me at the time. And then that night, that was the longest ride of my life, because all they knew at the time was my dad had stopped breathing and they didn't know what was going on. And I got out of the car when we got there, and I walked up, my uncle was standing there, and he just kind of shook his head, and I crumbled, because it was like everything in my world, like the stability of my world had been demolished. That was the beginning of a downward spiral for me emotionally. Almost a year later, I found myself on a dock at Lake Lanier with a gun in my hand, and I was going to kill myself because I couldn't deal with it. I couldn't deal with not having my dad with me. And I was sitting there on the edge of that dock. I hear this dad come out across the lake yelling at his son, "What do you think you're doing? Get your butt back in the house and do what I told you to do." I straightened up after that. I got through it, and I talked to a couple of pastor friends of mine at the time, and they helped me through it. When I start talking to kids as a teacher, I see exactly what I struggled with for most of my life. I see them dealing with the same kinds of stuff in different forms, but it's the same kind of stuff. It stems off of my belief system. I accepted Jesus into my heart and asked him to be my Savior. And what that meant for me was, at the time, I made mom and dad happy. But as I grew into it, and I grew to learn more about what it was that I had decided to follow after, I learned a lot about the nature of what God does for you. Suffering is not necessarily a bad thing. Suffering makes you appreciate successes, you know. The biggest highlight I can tell you of my life was coming to that realization. I have a moment in time with everybody around me. And I don't know when that moment happens, but I have a moment with everybody around me. And if I can attach importance to that moment, and I can expound on that moment, then that means that I'm making a positive impact on that person. And whatever I'm about is where that's going to be driven, like where that moment is going to be driven toward. For me, it's, you know, I want everybody to know Jesus. I want to know everybody to know that the suffering that you go through is for a reason. It's to give God glory through all of it.